So the first session in this course is about Java fundamentals. And as I explained, it will be the same skills that you have seen in 151, same skills, but this time using Java instead of using C++. So when you learn any language, later on you will learn more languages. C++ is just one of them. Java is just another one, very popular one. But there are many, many others. There is JavaScript, C#, there is Python, so many languages. Whenever you learn any language out there, these are the basic skills you will learn. You already learned those in 151. You will just see now how they will look in Java. And if you later on learn JavaScript, same thing. You will go through this again. You will see lots of similarity because many of them, like Java, they borrow from C++ and they move forward. So these are the basic skills. So first, you need to learn data types. And then based on, you use data types to declare variables. Shortly, I will show you what this means. And then you use these variables to create expressions. And then sometimes you do a conditional statement. If this condition is true, I will do this set of statements. Else, I do something else. Another thing you will find doing often is you repeat some statements a couple of times. This is loops. And then another basic concept in programming is array, where you have multiple values. You store them in some variable, and then you go through them and do some processing of these values. And then finally, you have some input-output. You read, you ask the user to give you some input, you do some processing, and you give the user some output. So those are basic building blocks, basic concepts. In any language, you will find them. Yeah, luckily, we don't need to explain them in too much details, although I will explain them, because you're already familiar with all of those. So why not jump immediately to some tool like IDE that we will be using? You will practice this in the lab. It's called Eclipse. I already sent you a link. You need to install this. You need to really have this up and running in your computer because you will be practicing all the time. Yeah? This course is all about practice. So the analogy I always give to students, if you want to learn how to swim, yeah, can you just go and get all the books about swimming in the library? Let's say from the floor to, you fill up all this room, okay? And you go through every book and you read it or you even memorize it. You think you will be a swimmer by the end of by the time you finish all the books? You really, really need to do it. You need to throw yourself into that swimming pool and find your way. And you do it. First, it's very hard. You'll get some help. You will be screaming. And then gradually you will get it. That's exactly the same as programming. Yes, you need to understand some basic concepts, but really you have to do it. That's the only way. So you need to set up your environment. You need to really practice what we learn. I'll be giving you a lot of examples. Every concept we will cover, you will have examples. Go ahead, run them, try to change them, try to improve them, try to make them your own, and try to learn that way. And you create your own examples and so on. Of course, in the lab, you will have the opportunity to practice in your homeworks, in your project, plenty of opportunities. But you really need to do it. Okay, so let's just do some basic program together from scratch. So in any language, when you learn any language, there is a very famous program everybody writes when they learn a new language. What this program is really known as? Hello world. When I want to create a program in Java, the first thing I create a class. Don't worry about what this class means. For now, just take it. I create a class. Later on, we will spend a lot of time explaining what a class is. What does it represent? How do I come up with this class and so on? But for now, When I create a program in Java, what I will, first thing I will create, the basic building blocks of a program in Java. What do we call the basic building block? A class. Don't worry about what it means now, just a class. What I will do here, I will give it a name. I will call it hello world, okay? And I will just tick this box here. I want to create a public static main method. This class will have one function called main. What do you think this main function, what's the role of it? Why do we have this main function within our program?
To activate the program.
To activate the program. Kind of, yes, that is basically the entry point. So remember in C++, you already know this. If you remember in C++, a program is made up of, what was your C++ program made up of? What were the basic building blocks? Yeah. Now, at the end of the day, your program, at the end of the course, the program was made up of functions, if you remember. Yeah? You wrote many functions. I hope you remember this. Yes? Function 1 to n, many functions you create. For example, add function. It takes two numbers and returns the sum. Give me the max function. It takes an array and returns the highest value in that array, for example. Okay? You created so many functions. One of those functions, one of them, one lucky function must be called main. Yeah? Java people, they steal the same idea. So in Java program is a bit different the way it is structured, but still, one of the functions must be called main. Why must it be called main, one of the functions?
Let the computer know when to start, from where to start.
Okay, very good. The computer, which part of the computer, to be more precise? No, not the compiler. You need to be very careful. When you run the program, compiler has nothing to do with running the program. Compiler, what is the role of the compiler? Translate. No, has nothing to do with input. What is the role of the compiler? We will see this later, but just quickly. What is the role of the compiler? No.
Translating a function to a function?
No. So what is the role of the compiler?
From the low language to the high language? From high language to the...
Yes, from the high-level language, such as Java or C++. These languages, the computer does not understand them. Okay? These are more made for human developers. We cannot spend our time going low level and talking to the computer using binary. It's too hard and too time consuming. So that's why people invented this much higher level languages close to natural language. We write our program in these languages, and then the computer, if we throw this program, say to the computer, please go ahead and run this. Say, what are you talking about? I don't know what Java is. I don't know what C++ is. So how do we do, what is the intermediary between the high-level language and the machine language? The machine language. This is the compiler. So compiler is a program that takes as an input the high-level language and produces the machine language. And this machine language that's what the computer understands. So when I go, for example, to my operating system, which is in this case Windows, and I, let's say, click on something like Visual Studio Code, this is a program already compiled. In here, the compiler does not have any role when I run the program. The program is already compiled. So when I run it, operating system will load this program in memory, and it will go through and say, oh, do you have something called main? Because there are many functions. How do I start? So the operating system will look for the function called main. If there is no function main, what will happen? You cannot run the program. Because this poor operating system will not know from where to start. There are so many functions in your program. How do I start? Yes? So the convention is to name one of the function main. Clear? Okay, so back to our program. I'm creating here a class. And this class, I call it Hello World. And this class will have, in our case, one function. What is the name of this function? Main. Okay, when I click finish, it will create this basic building block. For now, don't worry about why do we have this class and this stuff. I will explain all later. Now, we just want to get started. We don't want to get kind of delayed and get confused with this extra skeleton code. Let's just focus here and start doing some programming. And later on, we will understand this skeleton, what it means. Okay? So, what is the role of this program? What do we want to do in this program? Yes, we just want to print out Hello World. So in Java, the way to do it, there is some built-in class. The Java people, they gave us the Java language, but also they gave us so many pre-written functions and pre-written classes that we can just make use of. Same, C++ people, they are also very nice. They gave us some functions, if you remember. Like, for example, the math library has so many functions that you can just make use of. For example, you use C in and C out, if you remember. Those are already pre-written by C++ people. Now, the Java people, they have even more stuff that they just give you to use. One of those happens to be called out, system.out.print line. And in here, I will say here, hello world. Okay, let me just run this and I will explain what's going on. That's it. This is our hello world program. Okay. Now what's going on here? You might be wondering, how do I know that this library called system exists? You will learn gradually. In this course, for example, you will learn the most important libraries that come with Java and what we can use them for. Okay? Nobody in the world can claim they know all the packages and all the libraries that come with Java. There are thousands. You don't need to know all of them. Okay, just learn them as you go. But there are some basic ones you must know. Everybody knows. Otherwise, don't call yourself Java programmer. Okay, there are some minimum. Adaful iman. There is the minimum you need to know. Those will come as you go with practice. Yeah. What if I want to say hello and the name of the person I'm interacting with? So I want to say hello Fatima or hello Sarah or hello Ahmed or Ali. How do I do this? Sorry? Change what? I change the world, but but if I say here I don't know your name. So what I will do? I will first ask the user to give me their name, and then I'll take their name and put it in this greeting statement. Yeah. So in C++, how do we get input from users? Using cin. So first we declare a variable. You are familiar with the concept of a variable. So what is a variable? That is the data type. So a variable, yes, has a data type, because a variable you could store in it an integer or string or character or other stuff. But what is the concept of a variable?
The name of the location of
Location of, yes, very good, yes. Location of memory. Okay, very good, yes. So let me give you the analogy. If you want to step into the kitchen and make some nice cake to those visitors that you invited, okay? So you want to make this nice cake. So what you will do? Bring all the ingredients, yes? And you just put them on the floor. Is that what you do? You bring your eggs, you put it on the floor, you bring your, or on the table, you bring your flour, you throw it on the floor, you bring the oil or the milk, whatever you will put in that cake. But usually what you do when you want to make that cake? Sorry? No, before you come to the steps. List the ingredients, and then what you do with these ingredients? Sorry? No, before that is the processing. Even in the show, like the cooking shows, before they start into the steps, what they show you? They show you the ingredients. And these ingredients, where they are placed? On the table, on containers, some kind of bowls, yes? So basically, you can think of variables as containers where you put input, okay? So when you write a program, it's as if you doing this cake, making this nice cake. So you take some ingredients, some input, you put them in containers, and then you start processing them. You start mixing, you know the steps. You start mixing in another bowl, and then you put in the oven, and then you take it out, and then you give it to your guests. So what I want to say here, a variable is a container. Some bowl, or you can think of it as some kind of container. This container, physically, where do you find it in the computer? In memory. Some location in memory. What do we do with this location? Sorry? We give it a name, of course, yes. This container has a name. And then when the user gives us some input, what do we do with that input? We put it in that container. So when we need it, we go to the container, we extract the value the user gave us, and we do whatever we want to do with it. We might display it, we might do some computation with it, and so on. So the variable concept is a critical concept, is where we put our input. Even when we produce some output, we also put it in containers. So the concept of a variable is some kind of container where we put some content. Okay? So in here, if I want to ask the user to give me their name, I need somewhere to put this name that they will give me. Okay, so what do I need to do to create such container, to contain or to store the name? What do I need to do?
Give a type of the string?
No. What do I need to do? There is a technical verb. You have to really learn the terminology. So when you are with programmers, they don't say, oh, this is a foreign person. He doesn't know what he's a strange. He doesn't use the same language as us, as developers. So in this context, when I want to create a container, what is the technical verb I will use? Declare. We use declare what? Declare what? Container?
Variable.
A variable. That's it. Declare a variable. Now, when I want to declare a variable, what do I have to decide? Two decisions need to be made.
The type.
The type. Thank you very much. The type and the name. Thank you. The type. How do I decide the type? No. How do I decide it? Yeah, I know the types. It could be integer. No. How do I decide? Thank you very much. Now, in the kitchen, in the containers, when you want to choose one of the containers, how do you choose whether you will get a bottle or a bowl or a glass bowl or plastic one? How do you decide which one to get? Based on the content. If it is a hot, let's say hot oil, for example, will you choose a plastic container? It's not a wise choice. So how do you choose the data type of a variable? Based on what you will put in it. So now, in our context, what I'm asking the user to give me? The name. Is the name a number?
No.
Is it, what is it?
String.
It is a string, okay? So when I declare my variable, What data type I choose in this context? The string. Okay, because what I'm expecting from the user is a string. Okay, now that's what I really will do, string. And now the name of the variable. What do you think, the name of the variable? How do I select the name of the variable? That is basically the trick. You give it a meaningful name. So what do you think? What could be a better choice of name?
Username.
Username or just name, for example. Yeah. So I declared this. Now what is the next step?
Give them the name.
Ask the user to give me the name. Now, to ask the user to give me the name in C++, I use cin, something like cin. If I remember, is it like this? And name, something like this. Yeah. You are now in Java world. Java does not understand this cin. This is something else. Like in Java, the Java people, they gave us another class. Java has a lot of classes. I will explain what the concept of class later on. But one of such classes, I will say, please go and import or bring to this program one of the many functions and libraries that Java people gave us. One of them happens to be called java.util.scanner. This will be clearer as we move forward. So Java, the power of Java is just, it comes with so many packages and so many classes and libraries and pre-built functions that you can just start making use of. So one of them happens to be called scanner. Now, you will tell me, how do I know these libraries? You will learn them. There are documentation that comes with Java. You will take a course like this one, and you start learning these classes gradually, slowly. And you will only learn the ones that are commonly used. There are so many others you can discover as you move forward, as you become more and more experienced. Okay, so what I will do here, I will go ahead and say here, scanner. For now, just I will give it a name, like say keyboard. And then I will say here equal new scanner system.in. Don't worry too much about this at this stage. I will explain this in much more details later on. But for now, just keep in mind there is a built-in class called scanner. When I want to read from the keyboard, I create this scanner object, and then all I will do, I will say here name equals this keyboard that I just created dot next line. This will basically, whatever the user types in the keyboard, it will be written to name. And then instead of saying here hello world, I will say plus name, hello plus name. Okay. But in here, before I ask the user to enter, I will also do system.out.print.
Enter name.
Yes, thank you. Yep. Okay, that's it. I think it's ready to go. So I run it, ask me for name, and I will display it. Okay. So then basically, those details will come as we move forward. You will understand them more and more as we move forward. But for now, forget about cin. We are not in the C++ world. We are in the Java world. If I want to read from the keyboard, I import this scanner, and then I create an object from it using this line. For now, just copy paste it from this example. And then I will say, go to this keyboard and say next line, and this will give you whatever the user have typed. Okay? And then I take whatever the user have typed, I assign it to name, and then I concatenate it. You're already familiar with this in C++. I concatenate the two string and output the result. Yes, please.
Is keyboard keyword?
No, this is just a name. I can call it your lovely CN. If you still kind of attached to this CN, you can call it CN. All right, no problem. You can call it whatever you wish. I thought the keyboard is a good name, but you can call it whatever. Yes, please. Yes, very good. Okay, let me do another trick. Anyway, I ask you your name, hello, and I want to do for you another service, another little thing. You give me a number, and I will tell you whether it's even or odd, because I want to show you here if-else statement. Yes? Now, if I want, you give me a number, and then I'll tell you whether it's even or odd. So what is the algorithm here? So first, I will ask you, give me a number. So whenever I ask you something, I need to declare a variable to store what you will give me. So what do you think? What is the data type of this variable that you will give me? Integer. So I will go ahead and say int, num, or whatever I want to call it, number. Let's call it number, int number. And then I will use the same cin. Anyway, let's move on from C++ and call it something else. I will rename it. I will just call it keyboard, or you can call it whatever. It's really up to you. But for me, CN khalas, it stays in C++ world. So what I will do here, I will say here number equal keyboard dot next int. Next int. This will read for me from the keyboard whatever I typed. I will convert it to an integer and assign it to this variable number. And then what I will do with this number, but before I do this, remember to always show the user some instruction. So I say here system out.print, enter a number. Yes?
How do I go to the next one? If I enter a number, or then you يكتبها في اللاين الثاني.
If you do print, it will be on the same line. If you want another line, you do print ln. Okay? Or a good point. Before I move on to this, I might do something like this. After I print your name, I'll say system.out.print lane. This will just provide us a blank line.
المفروض أحاسبها example.
There are many ways, but this is the simplest way. Okay. By the way, in this course, I will do my best to mainly show you the best simple way of doing things, because there are many ways. We don't want to waste a lot of time learning all of them. Of course, you will learn more ways as you move forward, but at least if we learn one best good way is enough to keep us moving forward. Okay, Java is a huge language. It's a big elephant. We have to be careful how we tackle it and how we don't want to be discouraged and run away. We want to gradually get there, yeah? And focus on the most important pieces, because it's big. We'll focus on what is important. Okay, so in here, okay, now I have the number at my hand. How do I decide whether it's even or odd? How do I know if it's a number is even or odd? Yes. So I will check if I divide it by 2, if the remainder is 0, then it's even. Otherwise, it is odd. So you see here, if else. So if number modulus 2 equals 0, you can see here this is borrowing from C++. There is nothing new here. Thank you. Okay, here else. Okay, just to save time, I will copy this. System out, and I will say number plus is even. Otherwise, if it's not divisible by 2, then this is odd. Is clear? Okay, now if I run this, It will ask me my name. I'll say Sarah. Hello, Sarah. Ask me for number 15, and it say 15 is odd. Yeah. So far we have seen so many concepts already. How to declare variables of type string, of type int, how to do input using scanner, how to do output using system out print line. What's left? Main concept in programming. Loops. So in here, I'll keep asking you, let's say I keep asking you until you give me 0, for example. Okay. So the way I will do it, here it is. So I will, what I will do here, okay, let me just, there are many ways. You remember loops? There is a while loop, a do loop, for loop. Remember those? Okay. Now in here, I will just quickly show you a while loop. Sorry, a do while loop. Okay, I will do this while number is different than 0. As soon as you give me 0, I will exit. Okay, so here it is. Yep, I'll keep doing this. So let me just run it. So it will say here, and then it asks me, like, let's say 15 is odd. There is a little problem here. I will just put here ln, and I'll just run it again. Okay, so.
But if you enter 0 for the first time, it will say 0 is even.
Yes, yes. That's fine. So if I put here 10, 10 is even. Yeah, I think in here what I can do, same in C++, I can put here /n. Remember this, /n? To move to a new line. Let me try it again. Okay, so this is 15 is odd, and then 10 is even. And you see here it keeps looping. Once I put 0, it gives me 0 is even. If I wish to exit, what I can do here, I can do here, if number equals 0, what I will do here, I will break. I will exit the loop. This syntax, copy paste from C++, nothing new. Okay, same thing for while, same thing for for. Is clear? So I have 5 minutes. Last thing I will show you, let me comment all of this. By the way we comment is, block comment is /* // This will comment everything. I think same as C++, yeah? For one line comment is // one line comment, and block comment is /*/. I think same is C++ if I remember. Okay, now for arrays, the way I declare arrays, let me see. I just have a list. Let's say I have a list of cars. I take the list of cars and I display them, for example. So what I'll do here, I'll create an array of string, and I will call it cars, and I will start initializing them immediately here. So here, you get the idea, yes? So this is how I declare an array. I put the data type, empty square brackets, the name of the variable equal. If I want to initialize it, curly brace and start to put the values. Yeah. Now, I want to go ahead and look through this array and display the content. Yeah. So one way to do it, I say for int I goes from 0, and I'll do here I, as long as I is less than cars.length, as long as the I is less than the length of the car array, I++, what I will do inside the loop, how do I display? System.out.println and here I'll put cars I. Yep. Okay, let's give it a try. You see here, Toyota, BMW, Mazda. Okay, now this is the for loop. You know, for loop is a counter-controlled loop. If I know how many times I will loop, the for loop is the best loop. I know how many, it's a counter. I have a counter. What is the counter in this case? I. It goes from 0, because remember, arrays, same as in C++, arrays index starts from 0 to size minus 1. From 0 to size minus 1. So what I'm doing here, oh, sorry, I pressed something. Okay, what I'm doing here, I am, come on. What I'm doing here, I declare the counter that goes from 0, and I keep incrementing it until I reach the length. Once I reach the length, I should exit the loop. Now, in Java, there is a better way of writing this, a much better loop. This is the only extra loop that Java has compared to C++. One nice loop in Java, what I can do here, I can put here string, every car in cars. And in this way, I can write it this way. I can run it exactly the same, but much more concise, more elegant way of doing it. This loop is special loop if you want to go through an array or a list. You just say string car, go through every car in these cars and display this car. Another way of doing it, instead of putting here string, you can put the keyword var. This is a new keyword in Java 10 and above. In here, I'm not going to tell you the data type of car. You work it out. What will be the data type of car? String. Why? Because the array is string, so the cars will be string. In fact, this is not specific to this case. You see here, I can say here string name equal Fatima, okay? This is one way of doing it. Let me just show you. This is the last thing, I let you go. So I run, this is Fatima, and these are the cars, yeah? Another way of doing it, instead of putting here string, I can put var. Let me first run it, see if it works. What does this var mean?
Is that var automatically detect the data type of
Thank you very much. That's it. This is called implicit type. So instead of telling Java twice, oh, I'm initializing. Of course, I can only do this if I initialize the variable. So when I initialize the variable, Java is smart enough. Why do we tell this information to Java twice? I'm telling it is a string, and I'm initializing it with a string. I'm telling Java this information twice. If I wish, I don't tell it twice. I just say, work it out, Java, work it out. Java will work out the type of name based on what? The initial value that is assigned. Yes? Same thing here. I can be explicit and tell Java, oh, by the way, the car variable will be string. Yeah? But Java might be offended. Say, why are you telling me the obvious? Let me work it out myself. To be, when somebody is very smart, you have to be careful with them. You don't just tell them obvious things. Let them do things themselves. Same thing. So that's why instead you can put here var and Java will work it out. Yeah? Clear? That's it. Now, almost what you have seen in one semester in 151, I tried to squeeze it in one session, just to give you a taste of what Java looks like. Of course, this course will build on this and move way forward. Yeah, it's